car, I might as well do what I'm here to do, I guess. Hey interwebs, JackitK here. And I tricked you all into listening to me ramble about Pokemon Go. If you really fell for it, though, it's a pretty terrible, guys. I mean, I pretty much said I was streaming Pokemon Go in the promotional pieces I shared. How did you not expect me to at least be talking about Pokemon Go? Anyways, so I got Conbravo hype filled up me. I'm just about packed. I think I'm gonna wait until at least 3 o'clock to actually head out, though, so I wanted to kill some time before actually heading up to Canada. And it's been a while since I've done anything podcast-like, so I could take the time to go through all that. It's been a while since the last events came. At least it feels like it already. Zapdos Day was just last Saturday, and it's almost Friday, so it's almost been a week since we've last had a major event, and things have been pretty much, quote, back to normal in the whole Pokemon Go scene. With all that said, though, it's a nice event, and I'll admit there are some perks to when there's events not going on in the game. For one, I can never seem to find routes when there are events going on, but they seem to pop up everywhere when it's cloudy out and there's an event going on, and I could always use more Gardevoir candies for this particular Gardevoir here. Yeah, it is what you think it is. Perfectly IV, and on top of that, I also need the candies for Pokemon for Gen 4, because there's a Krylia evolution that I'll need. Just to show you guys, it looks like you can battle the best of them. That's top percentile for Instinct. Best quality is HP. Its attack is grade 2. Defense is grade 2. Its stats are the best I've ever seen, no doubt about it. Super happy about getting this routes, and it actually came out of an egg. So tempted to keep powering up. While I'm talking about everything I've invested into this Gardevoir, took me freaking forever to actually get that Dazzling Gleam TM move. And there's all that too. I guess the first thing event-wise I could talk about is Zapdos Day. It's come and gone, and man did I have a good haul. I feel like I've talked about it on social media already in that, but I will say I am fairly... It was a good day for Zapdos hunting. And unlike our Articuno Day, a lot less stressful too. Essentially what I did was I decided to actually go with a group. Like make my own group with the people in my community to specifically drive around and stop by the gyms to do raids during Zapdos Day on my own, instead of just like hanging around the main hardcore group. And this allowed us to go at our own pace. I didn't have to worry about wasting passes. There's only one raid pass that I wasted the entire time of Zapdos Day, which is a vast improvement from our Articuno Day, where I believe I wasted 3. And when I think more about it, I think part of it was on my own end, because I think trying to set up recording while I was raiding screwed me out of that particular situation. My theory is when you go into a gym to do a raid, it checks for your GPS location net, and when I actually start up my recording software, only for a millisecond, but for that millisecond, it leaves the game and then comes back to it. And whenever you leave Pokemon Go to open up a different app, it has to recheck your GPS location when you open up Pokemon Go again. So that sort of situation can screw you out of a raid depending on when you do it, if you're too far away from the raid, It won't register you as near the gyms, so it boots you out because it doesn't think that you're close enough to actually do the raid still. Stuff like that. As you may be able to see on screen, my Zapdos haul is pretty darn nice. I believe it ends... it'll have to take me a second to remember which Zapdos... Oh yeah, the jump from 1800 to 1400 should have gave it away. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Zapdoses. Pretty darn good if I say so myself. And actually, I think I've actually made a transfer to a couple already. Because you can see all these events kind of cleared up my box, and with all the various events going on in the game, like additional benefits to trading and stuff like that, it's really having me hoarding Pokemon more than I ever had before. Plus all these legendary Pokemon from raids and that. It'll be interesting to see how I take this to Conbravo, because you can only do one legendary trade a day, and I highly doubt I'm going to get anything that actually makes me want it. There's also the fact that legendary Pokemon take significantly more Stardust to actually trade away, so who knows what to make out of all that. And as you can see there, I did actually get 2 shiny Zapdoses as well. Yeah, I'm gonna need a minute, but I want to check up on something. When I come back, I can continue talking about how Zapdos Day went, as well as maybe some other things that happened before then. Okay, sorry about that. This is why I don't stream more often. Just because I don't have the house to myself, so I have to work around everyone else's schedule. People were coming home, so I just wanted to check in and see how they were, make sure they weren't coming downstairs and stuff like that. Anyways, I think I'm about ready to actually move onwards with my Pokemon Go conversations. Zapdos Day. Pretty darn good day. I wish I had a good way to actually show you guys how many I caught that specific day, but in my efforts to try to clean my inventory, I'm pretty sure I don't even have accurate numbers there. I know I did a lot of raids though. Did like between 8 and 10, right around the typical Pokemon Go area I go to. Then we drove up to a nearby college, did maybe 2 at the Power Vista along the way, and then another 3 to 5 at the college itself. And we even had time to go to a place that was in between there and home, and there was another 4 gyms there, although it was the last half second or half hour, so we didn't quite have enough time to do every single raid that was in the area, but we got pretty darn close. Like, if we just shaved a couple seconds anywhere else on the raid train, we would have been able to get them all, and that was actually pretty exciting from my perspective. And remember, this is supposed to be the non-rush train. This was the laid-back train, and I ended up doing more raids on the laid-back Zapdos trade than I did in the hardcore Articuno raid train day. To be fair, with Articuno day, I got thrown between group and group, so there were situations where I had to wait for other people to get their raids done, and it was a lot more organized this time around. I'm a lot more looking forward to the idea going forward, and considering how much of a cash cow rating is for Niantic, I'm pretty sure we're going to get more of those in the future. For one, with the Japanese equivalent of the Europe Safari Zone, which was put in the same event time frame, part of the same global research as Pokemon Go Fest, we'll probably get another raid train after that. And if pattern persists, it'll be Moltres. So I can finally get a good Articuno and a good Moltres. I gotta double check how good the Articunos I got during that were as well. Man, we had Squirrel. I'm trying to remember if there was anything between Articuno Day and... I was trying to remember what else happened after Zapdos Day. First thing that comes to mind was Squirtle Squad Community Day, but I think even Articuno Day happened before then. Overall, things were quite a bit of a mess. But I guess I could at least showcase the Articunos I got from rings. Even though a lot of passes went to waste because of issues with the gyms, I still say that I got a good chunk. I at least got some good Articunos from that particular event. Got at least one with perfect attack, and I think that's all I'll actually need for rating. Just so we have something to compare it to, this is how I am with Moltres. For those of you who haven't been following me for a while, the legendary birds were pretty much right when I was starting to find my raid group and my place in the local community. So I actually missed out on a lot of raids. The first time they came around, I didn't get any of them. Now you only got Zapdos when they did that week. I didn't get Articuno when it first came out. I didn't get Moltres when it first came out. I was just starting to find... It was either right during Zapdos' first release into the game I was starting to get into my raid groups. But if not then, it was during the return of all the legendary birds at once that pretty much followed right after their first release. That was when I actually got... I think that was when I actually got my Lugia and my Zapdos. And while I did Moltres and Articuno raids at the time, I unfortunately wasn't able to get them. So it wasn't until the research breakthroughs came around that I was finally able to get the Articuno and Moltres entries for my Pokedex. So I could definitely benefit from a Moltres day, I will admit. This particular Moltres is my best one, and it's from field research, so its level's a bit lower than if I got it from a raid. Still a pretty good Moltres, all things considering, but I think I'll stick to my reliable fire army until I get around to actually doing Moltres raids themselves. Well, I guess it would help if I organized it by CP now, wouldn't it? Yeah, I mean... Ho-Ho's a little bit overrated when it comes to actually using it as a fire type, because of its lack of a fire quick move, but I still get a lot of use of my Ho-Ho, especially before I really establish these other fire attackers. I'm just going to give a quick moment to give a shout out to Jenna, my absolute favorite Flareon in the world. But I was going somewhere with that tangent, wasn't I? Well, point being, these raid train events actually aren't so bad when you actually have an opportunity to organize a group and at least a general location of where to go in advance. So I feel like the more times I do it, the more smoothly it's going to go, and the more fun it will be because of that. It's a bit unfortunate, because I know not every area is going to have the opportunities I do. Granted, the closest town to me has been getting better and better with Pokemon Go over the years. but it's still decently rural, and I can only imagine how bad it would be for someone who lives in an even more rural area than I do. But worst case scenario, it is a good way for Niantic to get money, which they can hopefully invest back into the game and its players to make the improvements that are needed to actually make a good experience for all people. And we still have things like research breakthroughs to get the people who aren't able to raid the legendary Pokemon that they need for their Pokedex. So it's not a total lost cause. With that talk of the Zapdos and Articuno raid dates out of the way though, I guess I could take a minute to talk about Squirtle Community Day, or as I unintentionally spoiled, Squirtle Squad Community Day. I will admit, it was a bit intense to have both that raid train and a community day on the same exact weekend, which kind of was part of the issue with Articuno Day, although I think it's almost just as much of an issue that Articuno Day, it was the first time we had an event like that, and no amount of communication Niantic could do, especially Niantic, could really clarify exactly what we needed to make the most out of the event in that. Oh yeah, another good thing that came out of all those raids, I got plenty of items, fast TMs, rare candies. I really should use some of them up before Conbravo so I can clear out my inventory. I would talk about that EX raid pass I have sitting in my inventory, but that's kind of irrelevant because I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to that. I don't know if I want to get into the beef I've been having with EX raids lately, so let's just focus on the Squirtle Community Day first. I've been enjoying the whole Community Day concept, and I think anyone who actually gets out, especially if they can get to a good area to play the game, has a blast with Community Day as a whole. One thing that I do admit, not having any sort of event for a good while has made me realize how barren my usual walking spot is when it's not all lured up and spawns are increased for an event going on, because of course, as I feared, the one time I have a week off and actually go out walking, there isn't too much going on because all the spawns are down. There are perks to it, like the whole actually being able to find routes, like I mentioned before, but I do miss the increase in spawns at the very least. The memories of the community are so far in the past now, I have to admit that it's a little bit hard for me to infilate or talk about exactly what happened that made them so great, but I guess I could start by going over all these Squirtles I got. Yeah, I could clear out. I don't need all these Squirtles, but I never like releasing my shinies, because you never know when someone else may need one. And I'm tempted to try to keep at least 6 Squirtle Squad Squirtles so I could do some self-challenges with level 1 raids or something. But yeah, there was definitely plenty of Squirtles to go around. And I did actually manage to get myself, if I could just get the range of Pokemon real fast. Organize it by number to make it easier on myself. But I did actually get a shiny Squirtle with shades. It was my only shiny Squirtle with shades. It's the only one that was in that particular area. So I do feel bad for evolving it, because I wanted to keep it as a Squirtle, but it was also my strongest shiny in general. As you can see by the numbers I laid out, or just the IVs I mentioned, my shiny Squirtle suck in terms of battling. But a shiny is a shiny. And at least I have so many that I'm able to actually do a shiny of each form without regret. Is there anything else that happened in that time frame that I wanted to give special note to? I guess we could do like a shiny check to see what I've gotten most recently. Oh yeah, for Go Fest they had. That's why I was in the move of spawns everywhere, because we had Go Fest and all the bonuses that came after Go Fest, where they released Shiny Pulse and Shiny Minimum. This is a perfect opportunity for me to talk about Shiny Pulse, because I actually like its shiny form, even though it's almost exactly the same as normal Pulse. There's just something about that. It's a slightly different shade of red, but it's a pretty good shade of red. It's like velvet. It's like a velvet Pulse, if you couldn't guess by my nickname of it. And I actually like it a bit more than the Shiny Minimum being a bluish green. But it's so close. I can understand that it's just coming down to opinion. It's just a crying shame while I'm on tangent of shinies that I didn't get perfect attack Zapdos. Because I had Zapdos with the same combat power as one of my shinies, and that non-shiny had perfect attack, but of course the shiny didn't. Because I really want to just use a shiny Zapdos, because this Zapdos is my first shiny legendary. There have been various events in the past where you could get a shiny Pokemon from a legendary raid, and it took until Zapdos, where they allegedly increase whatever odds are more in my favor of getting a shiny. I never actually looked in to confirm that, but that's what I've heard. Though no one's really was talking about it after the event itself happened, so I don't know. And only because I brought it up going through it, I do got that EX ring. I've been pretty blessed to have an area that's technically a park, but I wouldn't classify as a park, turned into a place where both the gyms can spawn EX raid passes. Unfortunately for me, in my opinion, the current way of sending out invites kind of suck. Because they've just been going through clockwise. Like every month, pushing it a day further into the week. And pretty much just doing a random time. I assume it's based on the time frame where there was the most raids from. So for like the past week, it was all Thursday. Recently it got pushed to Friday, which could be nice because I can go straight from work to the raid in theory, but this invite I got was at 1 o'clock is at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and pretty much right when I'm getting back. And I've already taken a week off work for the family thing I did on Monday, and for going up to Conbravo today. So I definitely feel like it's too soon to ask for more time for another day off. If it was like close enough to the end of the day where I could only would need to take an hour or two off though, then we would be talking. Which is why I'm not too disappointed, because one, you can tell I already got my Mewtwo. I got at least one with perfect attack, so I got the Mewtwo that you need for battling as well. But it is pretty disappointing that I've definitely gotten way more invites than I have Mewtwo's. So, if I had to take a shot in the dark, I say I got 7 to 9 EX raid passes, and I've only done 4. Just because of the unfortunate way they do the timing for it. With Friday coming up though, or with the invites being Friday for at least a few weeks, maybe, just maybe, I'll get a chance to do an EX raid again. In the meantime, I'll make do with my perfect attack Mewtwo. And I should ever so be graceful that I have a Mewtwo to begin with, because I know not everyone has that luxury, even if you actively play the game. It all just depends on where you play. I was lucky enough that they just increased the number of places that could give an EX raid pass. Is that really all I want to talk about? I actually didn't do too much of the inventory cleaning that I actually wanted to do. I guess before we end things off, I could just quickly scroll through all my recent finds. There's definitely plenty of stuff that I could get rid of, like this guy that I'm sure nobody is sick of. Oh, I guess I was holding on to him because I didn't know how good he was. But he doesn't have a perfect EV or IV stand. He doesn't have perfect attack. So I'm really just hoarding him. Especially since I got at least one Pikachu. The only reason I'm even holding on to more than one of these Pikachus in general, actually, is because I thought it would be a fun challenge to try to take down some higher level raids with only Pikachus sometime in the future. Like this one, I don't know if it's like got 14 out of 15 or 13 out of 15, so that's why I'm hesitant to not get rid of him. I've gotten, looks like I got another Lull Meowth out of an egg. Oh, that's the Meowth that's from my good old friends from Lure Up. The guy I watched them all Pokemon Go branch. Yeah, thanks for that Meowth, guys. Got routes in here. Could've sworn I got one good thing from them, so who knows. Oh, these guys I've just been holding on for mementos from the walk I did Monday. A little disappointing because we went to a state park, so I was hoping maybe there would be a good amount of spawns and stuff. But these two Pikachus and maybe like a Swablu and that Nidoran were all I really found while out in that park Monday. This guy, I think I just stuck in the gym as throwaway anyways. So I don't know why I wasted a revive on him. So I can just release him right now on stream. Goodbye, park buddy. Your disappointment will not be missed. I guess I could just, instead of just use all my saltiness for complaining, at least go into something. The fact of how this game is still not really rural friendly. Like, that state park should have been a great place to actually get stuff in Pokemon Go. It's right out there in nature, and it's not like it's a hidden area or anything. It's a pretty big park. But there was only one stop in that entire park, and it was the sign right at the entrance to the park. Yeah. Can't win them all, I guess, but this game has made a lot of improvements for the rural setting, but I still feel like it's got ways to go. For one, I would personally recommend if they gave more rewards for walking your buddy, like you can get items, maybe even presents that you give to your friends from it. And that way you're not completely tied to walking in an urban area in order to play this game. With that said, the gift system I think is one of the best things that actually has been done for rural players in Pokemon Go. The whole research system is pretty nice too, but that's still relying on stops, so if you don't got too many stops to actually go to, then you can't really get too much field research to do. So I think the whole friend system is a good way to counteract that. I just think that there could be a little more incorporation of the buddy system and the friend system to make it a better experience no matter where you play. Because I know this game is supposed to be about playing with other people, but another thing that they really promoted with the game that I feel like gets overlooked for some reason is the whole concept of going out and exploring. Like, if you watch the early trailer for Pokemon Go, unless they were battling with a bunch of people, you rarely saw them actually go out the city. It was always like a park or some other outdoors area, but in execution, it really does seem like this game discourages you from going out and exploring nature, and just go to the most busy city that you can find and look for Pokemon that way. While a lot of people ideally wanted a social aspect out of Pokemon Go, the thing that I've always gotten the most out of Pokemon Go is just the experience of walking and actually making the most of where you are. Like, explore the world around you. Walk around, take in fresh air, exercise, things like that. And I just feel like with the way the game currently is, it's just still more geared towards an urban environment. And while I found my own place to really make the most out of the game, I guess I'm just saying that there's still room for improvement with all that. With that said, let me finish scrolling through the things I recently caught, see if I get any other stories out of that. I really need to clean this stuff out. I thought I was just hoarding onto things because a lot of good stuff has come around that I didn't want to throw away, but the more I look at all this, the more Pokemon I see that I don't really need to hold on to. Oh yeah, I was really happy that I got the Pichu during the Squirrel Community Day. And I was so hyped about that. And then I got about 3 more, and I was done. I haven't released any of them yet, because who knows? Someone else may not have gotten that Pichu, and they may be able to help me get Pichu that I miss. But I get the feeling I don't really need all these Pichus. There's all the Squirrel Community stuff. Oh yeah, I also hatched the perfect trap pinch during Community Day. It was one of the 10-kilometer eggs I hatched, but I didn't know that until a couple days afterwards. So this guy is all ready to evolve, but I'm so torn because if they ever do a trap pinch Community Day, giving Flygon an exclusive move to actually make it viable in the competitive scene, there will be so much regret. And since I'm not actually going to be using it for battling or anything, I decided to keep it as a Vibera for a little bit. Decided to evolve it while there was all the EXP events going on, and I just like the look of Vibera more than Trap Pinch anyway, so it works out for me. That's my deal with that. And if you couldn't tell, I've been keeping all my Lull eggs that I get from some of my friends that are out of state to trade to my friends that are in state for a particular medal in the game. a medal that is based on the distance between the Pokemon that you train, ignore all that. This particular medal here, the pilot medal. And if you couldn't tell by my other medal, which is the gentleman medal, just training those alone in Pokemon has really made a big difference. I think I'm just about rambling at this point, though. Thank you all for tuning in for this more of a rambling version of the podcast. Hopefully I just felt like I needed to kill some time, and I think I killed a little too much time there. Now I should actually clear out the inventory that I've been meaning to do. Take care, everyone.